Welcome to Annapolis Mosaics. Our program spotlights people in our community who are involved in activities designed to promote good human relations. I am Michael Keller, the host of your program, and I am also chair of the City of Annapolis Human Relations Commission. The Commission is a city board that seeks to promote equal opportunity and to eliminate discrimination. My guest today is Sue Russell, who is one of the founders of 100 Women Who Care Annapolis. Sue, welcome to Annapolis Mosaics.
Thanks so much for having me.
Well, what is 100 Women Who Care Annapolis? And while you're explaining that, also tell us a little bit about its history, locally and nationally. I understand that it is a national, it's got national ties too. And what does it seek to do?
Well, again, we appreciate the opportunity to kind of spotlight and get out what we do. It is a chapter, they're in Canada and throughout the United States. Okay. And we founded the one of Annapolis. Well, really started. We didn't find, but we're the founding members of this chapter. And there was 3 initial founders, myself, Tara Sue Green, another young lady, that unfortunately she had to step down just because of work and everything. And basically their premise is we gather, as it says, 100 women, in the chapter. They commit, we have 2 meetings a year, and they commit $100, and we have local philanthropies that come and they promote, and say what they do, and then people, our members, vote for who gets the initial check. Mm-hmm.
How did you come up with the figure 100? I mean, do you actually have 100 women in your group, or is that just a title?
That is a title. We have over 120 members,
all right.
So we continue to grow. And we celebrate that. I believe we started. It was just a little bit over 50 to get the word out. Yeah. So that was created, by the foundation, but we started the Annapolis chapter.
Okay, all right. Again, you're a giving circle.
We are a giving circle. We truly are.
And could you tell our viewers exactly how does it work? What are your basics?
We really keep it, and there's 3 words that are on the check every time that we do give it out. And simple, powerful, and meaningful. And simple means the fact that we ask our members to commit to 2 meetings a year. We have it's the first Thursday of February and October every year. Mm-hmm. They commit to $100. The powerful part is the 100 women come together with 100 women, obviously $10,000, charity, and the meaningful is it would go to that charity. And how we basically run a meeting, it's an hour commitment. Then we socialize and we, kind of gather and, kind of network and what anybody, suits to fit. But a bunch of friends that really kind of get together and we meet in the Olmsted barn in Olmsted. Okay. And basically people can come in, and people have walked in, become members, and literally walked away with a check. And they have, we put 3, anybody that wants to nominate a local charity, we try to keep it in the local Annapolis area to keep our dollars here. And so they put a nomination in, and we call it a fishbowl. So we pick out 3. They present, what their cause is all about, where the money would go, where the value would be, and then our members vote on who gets the check. So when we, want anybody that would win, there's a 2-year, kind of, if I may, wait period before they can get another check. So, and we've raised over $55,000. We started in October 2016, and since then we're a small little group, but the word is getting out. It's kind of nice.
Well, the process is a simple one, and clearly you've been successful in terms of its implementation, in terms of having raised $55,000 in just the short time span that you've been around. do you have any goals toward expanding it and growing it and giving out even more money?
Yes.
Yeah, well, you do have good. What are your goals? Looking down the road 5 years, what would you like to see your organization doing?
Unlimited. Honestly, our silly goal is we look forward to growing out of the Olmsted Barn. It's a great venue, but there is a cap on it, pretty much about 150, 170 capacity, in the section that we have. But really just to promote and to, give money to any kind of local charity. And some of our it's kind of nice to see that I didn't even know some of these charities even existed, and what the good, and then they collectively come back our next meeting and show us, where the money went, where the value was, and and it's inspiring. It really is, and sometimes most of the women they want to give, they want to find a charity, but they just don't. In all due respect, we might be writing checks, or they want to give, they just don't have an outlet. And truly, this is an environment where they can choose. They have the power of where their money's going to go. Where those three, and we count them up, and we literally, kind of give the checks over that evening. And it's kind of nice because we have our members make out the check directly to the foundation. For the fact that we don't want any question of $1 going anywhere else. It goes 100%. Our board members, we're a board of 4 strong, and we, basically, we support any of the expenses of hosting a meeting, and then so 100% of our dollars goes to that selected charity.
Yeah, so basically what you are is you're a philanthropic organization.
Yes.
Again, the amounts of money are still modest, but consequential. Certainly for a small nonprofit, getting a grant of any size can be very, 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 very valuable. And I think you're fulfilling that role in terms of what you're doing. What are the obligations that your members have, or member teams may have, to continue with your organization? I mean, what do you expect in return for giving people the opportunity to provide gifts and grants to nonprofits? I mean, there has to be a sort of a quid pro quo. You mentioned that people have to put a certain amount of money up themselves, and they have to attend the meetings. Is there anything else that you look for in an organization? What are the entry requirements? Who is eligible to? Are there eligibility requirements to join?
Yes, we ask our members to commit to 2 meetings a year.
Okay,
so
yeah.
ultimately, it's $200, $100 each meeting.
Okay, so it's a amount per meeting then.
Correct.
Okay.
And with that being said, obviously, busy lives get in the way, and some people aren't able to, attend every meeting. But we do bring out and pardon me, to give the information out to our members that were unable to attend, and they would forward a check, and we would give the address and whatnot. So when we collectively, for all the people, the members that are going to write the check that evening, so knowing our member, list is 120 strong, so we basically say we have committed funds of $12,000 at X amount, however our organization grows, and then we ultimately, and hopefully everybody does commit and sends the check if they were unable to attend the meeting.
Could you share with our viewers a sense of what a typical meeting looks like? What's a typical meeting's agenda? What happens at a meeting? Give us a sense of what you guys do.
Okay, we do try to keep it short and sweet. Not that we want to kick anybody out, but we want everybody to have the ability to be philanthropic, to give back to the community, and give an hour. Basically, that's what we are. Our meetings are committed to an hour. Come in, if you're not a member, we have you fill out a member page. There's no entrance fee. We don't collect, anything. We are asking you to commit to attend or to sponsor whatever charity was selected that meeting. And truly and then the 3 will be chosen. And how it works is if whoever put their name in the hat, it's called a fishbowl, literally have a fishbowl, and whatever name that person is going to present. So it's not going to be the CEO, or really it's no CEOs, but the board members. So if I threw in XYZ charity, I'm the one that's going to speak about it. It's not going to be the founder of. So it really kind of gets everybody committed to offering up something for review to get some of the funds.
Okay, so in other words, you encouraged those individuals who have made the $100 commitment to nominate at least one. Can they nominate more groups if they want to, or are they told us to put one name in a
one name in the fishbowl per meeting? Yes.
One name in a fishbowl per meeting, and they have to be prepared to defend the organization. In other words, don't put a name of an organization in a hat. You can't speak on behalf of them. So they have to be prepared to do this. So they would give the presentation. And there's just 3 that are considered. Whoever the 3 get pulled out, you don't say, well, let's see what other organizations there may be. It's whoever gets pulled out in those 3. It's totally random.
Correct.
And then people are called to make the presentation on behalf of that organization. Well, what kind of experience have you had with that? I mean, you're talking about pulling names out of a hat. How well do the people do in terms of their presentations? What have there ever been a reaction saying, where did that group come from, or why are they being identified? How do the women who are present deal with this? I mean, what kinds of interactions have you had? What interesting stories do you have, if any, about experiences that you've had in this part of the process? The goldfish bowl part.
The fish bowl. To be honest, it really has not been a charity of question.
Okay.
And everybody comes across, some are better public speakers than others. So to convey, but there has been throughout the years. There was somebody picked and they weren't selected, but the next meeting they were. So it was just a random, who they felt the money should go to. But not every one of our members has to nominate.
Okay.
So there's no obligation that some people that don't want to speak on behalf of a charity, some people don't even have a charity that they would want to promote and give the money for.
Okay. All right.
So if they just had one that they really truly believed in and want to speak about.
And that's how you have the same group perhaps selected on the second try.
Correct.
How many names usually appear in the fishbowl on average? You got 100 women there.
I would say we were probably about maybe 10-12%. So about under 20 where names were nominated in the fishbowl.
Okay, so it's a pretty significant chance of having your name pulled out of the hat,
Very much
so to speak. And I take it that the only requirement that they would have to meet to be put into the fishbowl is that they be a nonprofit organization.
Yes.
And
501(c)(3).
They have to have the 501(c)(3) official status.
Correct.
In order to be considered, and the like. Well, could you? I think that the interest of our viewers would be especially, I think, enhanced in this case, is what happens after the 3 names are selected and after they've heard the presentations. What happens then? What's the process as you go toward actually selecting the lucky organization to be chosen? What do? You have like a discussion among yourselves? I'm sure you got some kind of a voting process.
Truly the voting process, right?
Okay, tell us about that.
They're on every chair. There's a notebook and a card.
Okay.
And then after presentations, everybody writes down who they vote for, and then we randomly pick 3 members. And so there's no question of how the tally comes, and the winner, the total amount of votes wins.
Okay.
And then we write
just
a
one.
cute little
Just
check.
one.
Just one.
Just one.
Just one gets the whole all of the money.
Okay, so it's a winner take all.
Correct.
Do you vote until someone gets a majority? You've got 3 that are chosen, or is it whoever gets the most votes on the first ballot, so to speak?
First, the most votes, the first ballot,
Okay.
and then if there were ever a tie, we choose as the 4 board members not to vote, for the fact of we want to make sure we are just a platform for everyone to put focus on their charity.
Yeah.
We just want to be a platform. That's
Okay.
truly what we want to do for everyone. If there was a tie, then we would determine the tying vote.
Okay.
But otherwise it's so we try to just give everybody a platform to kind of know what's out there, and where somebody can kind of give some money.
Okay. Are there any rules or guidelines that you attach for the use of the money by the nonprofit organizations? In other words, when you give, you can do it 2 ways. You can be like the Gates Foundation and have all kinds of restrictions and rules that they have to follow in terms of the expenditure of the money. Or you can be like the MacArthur recipients. They simply award somebody a $500,000 check distributed over a period of years, and there's no strings attached. You use the money for whatever you want. That's the so-called the Genius Awards by the MacArthur Foundation. So you've got both. I mean, both. I'm not saying that either one is right or wrong or better than the other, but there are 2 models. So my question then is, do you put strings to the gift? Do you require them to do certain things? Or is it just, we're giving you this amount of money and you can use it for whatever purpose you want as an organization?
The latter. There's no strings.
Okay.
We could go, and they do what the only thing we do ask if they come back to our next meeting and tell us how the funds, were spent and where the value add was, and how we helped, how our members helped, that the larger, everybody can give, but when all of a sudden, everybody doing $100 to collectively as a whole getting 300 women and giving a $10,000 check, there really can be some wonderful things that can happen in the Annapolis area.
Well, I can guarantee you what our viewers are going to be thinking right now is, what organizations have been the lucky recipients of these awards? So that's what I'm going to ask you next. I'd like to, if you could maybe talk a little bit about some of the organizations that you have benefited. I'm certain that they wouldn't mind at all. I'm certain that they're all very grateful
They have been.
to receive, especially if you're giving gifts in 5 figures. That will get their attention very quickly. They'll be very grateful about it. But who have been some of your recipients? And as you mentioned those, tell our viewers a little bit about what interaction they have subsequently had with 100 women. In other words, you mentioned that they come back and they talk about what the money has been used for. Share some of that with our viewers. I think people will be very, very interested in hearing that, knowing fully well that, as you have explained earlier, that this is in large part a random process, and that it's not rigged in favor of a particular organization or a particular focus, but rather is, as I said earlier, it's a giving circle. So
Yes.
could you share that information?
Oh, I'd
with
be
us?
honored to. Yes.
Yeah, give us lots of examples.
The first one was 21st Century Foundation, and
okay.
collectively, I've never heard of them before until
No, I haven't either.
Yes, and they basically help homeless individuals. Mostly, they focus on the seniors and the juniors that are homeless in high school, and they help them with college exams. Fees. They help them with tickets to go to the prom. They have, ancillary things that you and I are very blessed and gracious to, be able to write a check, to do so our kids can do the SATs and to go on to college and whatnot. They are basically that little link that helps homeless children, homeless, young adults get to college, get to, enjoy a little bit of the bonuses of, kind of going to high school at the end. It really, we were and they got $7,500. That was our first check.
Right.
So we were very pleased with that first number, how we came through. And that was in October of 2016.
Okay.
And then our next following meeting in October, and then we follow with February. Those are our 2 months. It was Services from the Heart. And basically, I'm not sure if you've ever heard of them.
No, I haven't.
They are another great organization. They help basically any child that's, kind of on a food assistance program. There's no food going home on the weekends. So the Backpack Buddies, basically it is what it says, a bag of food for the weekend for the children that, perhaps don't have the resources and the funding and the families to, kind of, eat over the weekend, because some kids, their only meals are the ones that are provided in schools. So they kind of extended out for the weekend, and they're a great organization, and they're out of Severna Park. The Bernie's House was our next recipient.
Yeah.
Actually, Service in the Heart got $3,200. The Bernie's House got $85. And literally, she walked in, became a member, and walked out with a check. And and basically she is a facility that for battered women, a safe house, and does phenomenal work. Phenomenal, all of them. Where the gracious hearts of people that do the local charities.
Well, I do know the last one. I'm familiar with Burning House,
Right.
and she was a guest on Annapolis Mosaics. So
Oh,
I was just sort of curious as to how many of
Yes.
them would come. But the first two I'd never heard of. But I'm going to make a note of checking them out, because I'm sure they would be good guests. But is there any others you want to
that would be
talk
wonderful.
about?
the next one followed with a $10,000 check to Haley's Helping Hands of Maryland.
Not heard of them, but
She is a young individual. I believe she is anywhere from, I think, 15 years old. And she basically helps anybody like with, clothing. And then she started to recycle sporting equipment for children less fortunate. And her goal was to send a box, whoever reached out to her, for clothing, anywhere from footwear to socks, ancillary things that we all take for granted. And she wanted to make sure she helped all 50 states, and and she's a local girl, very impressive for the young age that she is. And she had one, and we were all in tears. And most times we do, cry at their presentations, but one of her recipients, wrote in that they wanted a suit, and unfortunately this individual, and she asked why and what size, and not saying why, but in her question, be like, and she said, and unfortunately this gentleman was going to pass away, and he wanted to be buried in a suit, and she honored that request. And those are the special people we give money to.
Yeah.
And it just is, I tear up, and everyone else, it's just, we don't know these places exist, and the beautiful, hearts that these individuals, kind of give back to our community and throughout. The next one was Annapolis Immigration Justice. They got $10,200. And our final one was Olivia Constance Foundation. which, you'll see all the Burgies in town, half of them on, the cars, and they do such, great work as well. Have to do a little bit of disclaimer. We don't vote. All 4 board members, right. Myself, Tara Segree, Kate, and Emily. We don't vote. And I am on the board of Olivia Constance, and so they are board members, voted. So I don't know if that, I felt like we always had to explain that, but there's not a vote that goes in for the board members for our charity. But they do everything from scholarships to transition of homeless, Lighthouse Shelter. We feed the Lighthouse Shelter the first Sunday of the month for years. So then that's just how we get to that $55,000 ultimate of giving. So those have been all the charities that we have presented, and we look forward to October 3rd. The first Thursday will be the next one.
Yeah. Well, what have you found being involved with 100 Women? What has that meant for you?
Very rewarding. For the fact how it kind of inspired in a very loose way. I was at a friend of ours' funeral. I never met the father. Very gracious man, very giving man, and how I was going out of respect to my friend. I came away saying, I could do more. This person touched so many lives, gave himself, just really was that beautiful soul. And I thought I was, kind of volunteering, and then started doing the Lighthouse Shelter. And, my dear friend, Tara Segree, the founding member, she came to me, she goes, that's what we're doing. I'm like, what are we doing? She's like, we're going to start the 100 Women Who Care of Annapolis. And I'm like, okay, what is it? And that's how it just snowballed from there, and she, wanted to give back as well. And we just thought it was a great outlet. It's a great premise. It's easy. The commitment's $200, which is a lot of money. I'm not going to dismiss that. We're very gracious for those that are members. Most chapters do 4 meetings a year. We thought too was this environment, this climate was good. A lot have children, so sometimes to commit to 4 meetings, it's a little hard, So we thought we started, and we just continue with the 2 meetings a year. And I'm very proud to be part of it. And I'm just, it's inspiring to see what other people, how they can, be gracious and give back to our local community that sometimes we don't even know is of need.
Well, I'm sure that you're going to have a lot of viewers who are going to want to be part of your organization. It's a fascinating group that you have. How can people get in touch with you?
Our website, 100 Women Who Care, Annapolis, and you can become a member online. You can show up to a meeting and fill out and the only piece of paper, we're not getting very sensitive information. It's your name and, an email and such, just so we can continue to get information out to when the next meeting is, or where the money goes if you were unable to meet the meeting, and very simple.
So again, the website is 100 Women Who Care Annapolis, all one word, .org.
Correct.
Okay?
Correct.
All right. Thank you for viewing our program today, and please join us again on Annapolis Mosaics. If you would like more information about the Annapolis Human Relations Commission, jot down the information on your screen. You can contact us at 410-263-7998 or by email at hrcommission@annapolis.gov, or check out our page at the City of Annapolis website, www.annapolis.gov. Click on the icon for City Government, then Boards and Commissions, and scroll down to the Human Relations Commission page. And always remember the words of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who said, "We have flown the air like birds and swum the seas like fishes, but have yet to learn the simple act of walking the earth as brothers and sisters."